Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 706th edition of the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show. I'm your host, Daniel Feuerstein. I'll give you an American perspective of our clubs, leagues, players, national team, and always those fabulous moments of American soccer. Get your daily reading from me and other writers over at Beyond the 90, at beyondthe90.substack.com, and locally New York Soccer over at baddogsports.com. Come on in. The chat room here on YouTube is open. If you have a question for me, I'll try to answer the best of my abilities, and always discuss amongst yourselves if you like. And please don't forget to subscribe to this show here on YouTube to get your daily American soccer content. Now, obviously, it's been a couple of weeks now since the FIFA World Cup draw, and I've been very busy, unfortunately, so I haven't had a chance to set up a show right away to do it, but I had to get it done this week because I want to get this show and talk about these groups coming forward, but I also want to talk about the draw. And, just recently, and I haven't finished it yet, but obviously here on YouTube, very interesting. Anytime you download YouTube from the internet, you type up the search engine, youtube.com. What is the first thing all of a sudden I saw? The 1994 World Cup draw that was held in Las Vegas, Nevada. And the hosts was former, of course, he's not with us anymore, the oldest teenager in American music history or DJing history. The grateful, the wonderful Dick Clark was one of the two hosts who was there to talk and be the MC, one of the MCs of the draw over in the Las Vegas Convention Center. And just to see him remembering what he did, American Top 40 on the radio, American Top 10, of course. Well, that was actually more Casey Kasem, actually. But, TV's bloopers and practical jokes, game show hosts like the $250,000 pyramid, regular bloopers, and many, many other times as an executive producer for the American Music Awards, and many, many other fabulous television shows and programs that he was involved with. Just wonderful to know that, he was one of the hosts for the World Cup draw back in 1994, and joining him on the stage to be also a host or a presenter for that World Cup, the actress Faye Dunaway. Amazing what they did together to bring the biggest, the brightest, and the amount of people who came to watch this draw, not just on television in the United States and from around the world, but to watch these people who we have seen so many times, either on our television sets, the silver screen in our movie theaters, to go out on that stage, standing one by one in front of each and every pot with the teams in those balls. At the time, 6 groups of 4. And who was the draw master? None other than Sepp Blatter, who looked a lot younger than what he was as president of FIFA, that's for sure. And of course, then the president of FIFA, João Havelange. But that moment signaled that football, soccer, finally has come to fruition. And at the time, the German president of football in Germany held the World Cup trophy, handed it to the FIFA president, João Havelange, who then handed it at the time to then U.S. Soccer president, Alan I. Rothenberg. And to see him standing proudly accepting the trophy as the host nation to say, welcome to the United States. We're here for a great World Cup, and we all know it's going to be excellent here. Everyone will enjoy themselves. But to see the level of pride from Alan I. Rothenberg to bring the World Cup to the United States finally, after so many opportunities that Europe and South America and even Mexico hosting it 2 times, it finally came to the United States in the summer of 1994. For myself, just getting into or back into this sport, of course, look, I'm always a baseball fan, following the Yankees, an American football fan. I know my team's not doing well at the moment, but still, I'm dedicated to my football team, the New York Jets of the National Football League. The New York Knicks won the NBA Cup, the Emirates NBA Cup, last night on Tuesday night over in Vegas, beating the San Antonio Spurs and, of course, in the National Hockey League, the New York Rangers. And that year in 1994, it was the New York Rangers who won the Stanley Cup. And my excitement. And I said to myself, after the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in 1994 over the Vancouver Canucks, well, if the Rangers can finally win the Stanley Cup after 54 years, then why not U.S. Soccer, our U.S. men's national team, win the World Cup in the same summer? Unfortunately, that didn't happen. That ended up going to Brazil, beating Italy in a penalty kick shootout. But still, though, advancing out of the group, going to the second round, round of 16, unfortunately, falling to Brazil by a 0-0 while up a man. Those are the breaks. That's football. At the time, that was the furthest they've gone since 1930 in the FIFA World Cup when it first got started, where it wasn't 32 teams and it wasn't 48 teams. It wasn't even 16 teams, even though they wanted 16 teams. It was a very small amount. I would say about, I think it was 12, 13 teams, because some teams either declined invitation and those that were trying to go. Of course, back then in 1930, the airline industry was not created. If you wanted to go from the United States to Europe, you had to go by luxury liner. And of course, across the country in the United States, rail, passenger rail, the railroad was the only means of transportation outside of the little jitterbug cars made by Henry T. Ford. So you see the differences that happen today, what's happened back in the day, airline travel, computer generation, slowly coming into play, but still doing it the old-fashioned way, going into 4 pots, spinning it around, pull out a ball, present the team. The first pot was for the seeded teams, but the United States did not go directly into pot A in 1994. No, it was Germany that went to Group A. There was no automatic positioning in 1994. If you got picked, you were put there. And if you were in pots 2, 3, and 4, you were determined which group to go into if there was no confliction. So times have changed from 1994, and soon, very, very soon, this show there we go. Sorry about that. We're having some internet problems here. As I was saying, welcoming A very brand new year very soon, as this is Wednesday, December the 17th. This show is being broadcast on this Wednesday. We're almost at a brand new year of 2026. And when we get to the new year, then the pressure really winds up. Because we have a March international window. And 9 out of 10 is mostly international friendlies, with the exception of the European playoffs and the intercontinental playoffs, as they call it now, the interconfederational playoffs, for those 2 extra spots. And they will be performed in the March international window. So we have ourselves a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. We'll finish off these league seasons. Of course, Major League Soccer will take their break for the World Cup around the middle, towards the end of May of this upcoming season. Go to the World Cup. And then once the World Cup is over by middle of July, MLS will restart their season. But as I was saying, once again, this is the excitement. This is the fun. This is what we're all expecting. And at the same time, I can't wait till we get to this coming June, July, that we can have conversation about the FIFA World Cup. Talk about the matches, the excitement of these games across the United States, in Mexico, the East Coast and the West Coast of Canada, and Toronto and Vancouver, Monterrey, Mexico City, Guadalajara, New England region, the Meadowlands in New York and New Jersey, Atlanta, Miami, Houston, Kansas City, Seattle, the Bay Area, Santa Clara, Inglewood, just outside of Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We are going to have ourselves a grand old time this upcoming summer for the FIFA World Cup in 2026. It is exciting. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait for it. I know you can't wait for it. We're going to have some fun here, folks, and it's really going to be exciting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about this segment's sponsor. It is Dino Loves the Energy Drink. When I need that extra kick to power through match analysis and late-night transfer rumors, there's only one drink that delivers authentic Italian energy, and that's Dino Luzzi. Crafted in Italy with the same passion I bring to this show, because real energy comes from real ingredients, just like real soccer talk comes from real insiders, and that's Dino Luzzi. So, December the 5th on Friday, the World Cup draw for 2026 was held at the Kennedy Center of the Performing Arts in our nation's capital of Washington, D.C. The hosts were Heidi Klum and Kevin Hart. And on the stage, to pull the balls out of those pots, former 6-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady, 4-time Stanley Cup champion of the National Hockey League Wayne Gretzky, 3-4-time NBA champion Shaquille O'Neal, current New York Yankees right fielder and captain of the Yankees Aaron Judge. They all pulled balls out of 4 pots. And 12 groups of 4 to an expanded 48-team roster of 48-team groups, 12 groups of 4 each, 48 teams, getting ready for the FIFA World Cup for 2026. And these are the results that came out of that afternoon in our nation's capital that we all watched, either through English language on Fox Sports or Spanish language through NBC's Telemundo. And here we go. Once again, here are those groups. First, groups A through D. And Group A, of course, one of the tri-hosts, Mexico, as they're going to be in Group A with South Africa, South Korea or Korea Republic, and the one of the four teams in the UEFA playoff in Group D, UEFA playoff pathway D, of either Denmark, North Macedonia, Czechia, and the Republic of Ireland. In Group B, we have Canada, the UEFA playoff pathway A of Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Bosnia-Herzegovina, along with Qatar and Switzerland. In Group C, we have Brazil, the third place finishers, I should say, of the last World Cup, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. In Group D, the other tri-host, us, the United States of America, Paraguay, Australia, and the UEFA playoff pathway C of Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo. Group A. Depending on who gets out of the UEFA playoff pathway D, I believe one of the four European sides will be advancing to the round of 32. And don't forget now, with a 48-team field, we now have the round of 32 added on. So it's no longer 7 rounds to get to the final and win the World Cup. It is now 8 rounds to get to that little golden trophy. Mexico, while many will say that they're going to be tough because they're one of the host nations and they'll be playing at home in either Mexico City or in Monterrey or in Guadalajara, I don't know, because South Korea has really looked strong for a very long time, especially with Son Heung-min on LAFC. And anytime he's on the national team, he does an extremely wonderful job scoring goals. South Africa, back in the World Cup, I just have a funny feeling they may threaten, but I don't see them really going into the round of 32. But once again, there will be third place finishers that may advance, so you never know. So for now, I would definitely go whoever takes the UEFA playoff pathway D winner. And I be honest with you, I don't know who will be one of the four. We could have an upset, so I'm not going to predict one of them, but at least one of those four clubs, or those national teams, I should say, will be in the round of 32. And so will South Korea. Can Mexico have a chance? I think so. If they can hold on and be that third place finisher and be one of the lucky ones, we'll see what happens. Group B, once again, Canada, Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, Bosnia-Herzegovina from UEFA playoff pathway A, Qatar, and Switzerland. Obviously, Switzerland will definitely advance to the round of 32. I believe Canada can advance out of their group as the host nation, one of the 3 host nations. And, you know, the pathway A, listen, I am not going to be selecting any one of those 4 to advance into the World Cup group. I want to watch and wait and see what's going to happen. But I'll say this for Italy, if they lose to Northern Ireland, or if they defeat Northern Ireland but lose to either Wales or Bosnia-Herzegovina, that will be another embarrassment for the Italians that will not qualify for the 3rd consecutive World Cup cycle. They've done it now twice. If they don't qualify for a third time, heads will roll in the Italian FA. So we'll see what happens. But I will say this, it's going to be an interesting situation. Group C, Carlo Ancelotti running now the boss of Brazil. Normally, I would go with Brazil getting out of the group, and normally when it's World Cup time, they'll do it. I think they'll barely get out of it because Morocco has been strong and they're very dangerous. So I would expect Morocco to take the top spot out of Group C. I think Brazil will barely qualify for the round of 32. Scotland or Haiti, depending on what Haiti does, and I don't want to poo-poo Haiti. Look, they may sneak in, you never know. Scotland, on the other hand, they're gonna have to really have their eyes peeled. They probably will defeat Haiti. They may have problems with Morocco, but if they find a way to get Brazil and get a result there, and that pushes them into the knockout stage, then good luck to them. But Scotland really needs to have a damn good match first against Morocco, and of course a damn good match against Brazil. Haiti, I think they'll defeat Haiti. I think they'll be better than Haiti. But, depending on what they do with Brazil and Morocco, Scotland could be on the outside looking in. And then we go to Group D for the U.S. men's national team. Now, look, it's a friendly. You defeated Paraguay. You defeated Australia. It is a friendly. But still, when it's World Cup time, these nations know how to put the foot on the gas pedal. And not just to talk about Paraguay and Australia, but we also have to look at the UEFA playoff pathway C teams. I will say this right now. Turkey, or if you want to say Turkey still, it's fine. I am not going to berate you. To me, Turkey, they're the strongest of the four. Being of Romanian and Hungarian descent, obviously, I'm hoping for Romania to pull off an upset, but I just don't see them doing it. But if they do, and they catch them off guard, and they find a way to steal it, well, then that position is up for grabs. And it depends on what goes on in the match between Slovakia and Kosovo. But for now, Turkey, to me, will win UEFA playoff pathway pathway C, and they will enter they'll enter Group D along with Paraguay and Australia. So I'm expecting a tough matchup. The United States will play Paraguay first, then they'll face Australia, then the winner of UEFA playoff pathway C, and that should be exciting. That should be a lot of fun. Next, we go to the next groups of four, E through H, and here they are right now in Group E. Germany, Curacao, the Ivory Coast, or as they say in French, the Côte d'Ivoire, Ecuador. In Group F, the Netherlands, Japan. UEFA playoff pathway B between Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, Albania, and Tunisia. In Group G, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and for the very first time, a permanent bid for Oceania, New Zealand. In Group H, Spain, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. First to Group E. Now, obviously, normally I would give Germany automatically going to the knockout stage. Ecuador looked very strong as well. and I could see them going too. Possibility of that third position, depending on what Ivory Coast does, and they've been one of the top nations, if not maybe slightly below the top nations in the Ivory Coast. They may have that opportunity to sneak in and possibly take either the second position or the third position if it is available to them with a better record and a better goal differential. Curacao making their very first World Cup under head coach and former Dutch national team head coach Dick Advocaat. While I think they're going to get blitzed out by the Germans, still though, they may make it a game because Dick Advocaat is that crafty of a manager, and he will definitely make sure his players will be playing their best football out there, and it should be exciting and should be a lot of fun. Group F, the Netherlands, I think they'll make it. Japan, I think they'll make it. Depending on who makes it out of the UEFA playoff pathway B group, one of those four teams, that's a pick 'em because I don't know which ones will make it. I think Sweden, who looked horrible in World Cup qualifying, but made it due to their level of finish at the UEFA Nations League, I just don't see them advancing. Albania, I don't know. I think it'll go between Ukraine and Poland if and when they do face each other in the final game of the playoffs in UEFA to officially stamp Group F. In Group G, we have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. While I think this is their first time ever qualifying for the World Cup, I don't know if the All Whites will qualify for the knockout stage. I think they're just going to be happy to be there. So, but we'll wait and see. Iran, they may sneak in. They may not qualify. They may be one of the third place finishers. So I would definitely say Belgium and Egypt will definitely advance to the round of 32. I think they'll go to the knockout stage and take on whoever they will take on in the next round for the World Cup. And finally, of course, Group H, Spain will definitely be advancing. I will say this about Uruguay. I will never count them out when it's World Cup time because they know how to win when they are in tournaments. Copa America, World Cup qualifying, the World Cup itself, they know how to battle and put their footballing lives on the line internationally. But for that third position, Saudi Arabia, I know they've had probably got knocked down by a peg or two in certain situations. I'm not counting the Gold Cup because they're just a guest team. They probably didn't take it too seriously, but they are one of the better sides. In the AFC, Asian Football Confederation, Cabo Verde making their first ever World Cup. I think they'll just be happy to be there. But you never know. They may sneak in and they may do something special. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, those are my selections for that group of national teams. And now, finally, groups I through L. And here it is. We have France. We have Senegal. We have FIFA World Cup qualifying playoff B or playoff 2, Bolivia taking on Suriname, and the winner of that first match will face Iraq and then Norway. Group J is Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Group K is Portugal, FIFA World Cup qualifying Group 1 or or the first interconfederational playoff one again between New Caledonia of Oceania, Jamaica, and the winner of that match will face Congo DR, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then you get to Uzbekistan and Colombia. And finally, Group L will have England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. France, of course, very strong, very, very strong. Uh, Definitely will qualify out of the group in Group I. Norway, who has looked incredibly awesome with Erling Haaland, and that Norwegian team just bulldozed through World Cup qualifying and took the top spot with ease. They'll take their spot in the knockout stage. Now, depending on the situation, Senegal, they may take it if they do get enough goals to take the third position or one of the best third place finishers for the round of 32. But to come out of the playoff, normally I go for Bolivia. But Bolivia, when they don't play in their national stadium in La Paz, the altitude is 3 times worse than the altitude at the Azteca in Mexico City. So, but since it will not be at La Paz, and it will be in a neutral site in Mexico, I believe once again it'll be in Monterrey, and the other playoff will be of course, in Guadalajara. I would like to see Suriname do the upset, knock off Bolivia, face a tough Iraq team, but if Suriname can knock off Bolivia and Iraq, then we will have 3 Dutch nations in the World Cup. We have 2 right now with the Netherlands and Curacao, but I would love to see Suriname do the unthinkable and make it 3 for 3. So we'll see what happens there. The defending World Cup champions, along with Lionel Messi, Argentina, they'll be going into the knockout stage. And then it's a toss-up between Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. I don't know which one of these 3 will make it to the round of 32. Will they also be enough to do enough to take on and advance for that second position and or possibly one of the best third place finishers for the round of 32? That I don't know. Austria, it's a wild card. Algeria is a wild card. Jordan is also a wild card. So we'll see what happens there. In Group K, obviously Portugal will advance to the round of 32. Colombia will advance to the round of 32. Uzbekistan, that's a toss-up. And depending who gets out of this one, good luck to New Caledonia. I just think they're going to get crushed by Jamaica. But then we'll see what happens between Congo DR and Jamaica. That one is more of a toss-up for me. Even though some will say maybe Jamaica will get it. But listen, these African nations, these African national teams, they are not a soft side. They will find a way to knock off Jamaica. So for now, I say New Caledonia, you tried, you're going to get knocked off. Jamaica, Congo DR, that's the toss-up. But if New Caledonia comes out of nowhere and pulls off an upset against Jamaica and Congo DR, look out below. I don't know what they'll do if they make it to the group stage. But for now, if they surprise us all, there you go. And finally, Group L, England, Panama, Croatia, Ghana. Depending on the magic that Ghana has, they've done magical things in the World Cup. I really think Ghana is going to be on the outside looking in. I think Panama will be on the outside looking in. England, Croatia, they'll battle each other, but afterwards, one of these 2 will advance, or both of them, they'll both advance into the knockout stage. But if you want to say, who do I think may make it to the best third place finishers for that round of 32, call me crazy, but I'll go with Panama and Thomas Christensen running the national team and putting Panama in a position to make it into the round of 32 if they can make one of the three best third place finishers for the round of 32 of this upcoming World Cup. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my position. That's my selections for who's going to go to the World Cup round of 32, who's going to get in and get out. And we'll see what happens when the whole shebang starts this coming June. We're going to all watch it. Fox Sports, Fox Sports 1, foxsports.com, English language, Telemundo, Spanish language, and NBC's Peacock. Should be exciting and a lot of fun. And before I finish off talking about my predictions for reviewing these World Cup groups for this upcoming summer, I have something to say to Rio Ferdinand, and he'll probably not watch this, but I don't care if he watches it or not. I have a bit of a gripe to let him know about it just for 1 second. So, to Rio Ferdinand, first of all, thank you for your service to Manchester United, my favorite Premier League club. And I'll never forget what you've done. You, sir, are conducting the FIFA World Cup draw. It is an honor that, obviously, picking out the balls in all the pots to place national teams in those groups is an honor within itself. But for you to go behind the table to dictate who goes where in the World Cup is a bigger honor. And even though, and I understand you're not going to call it soccer, you're going to call it football, and I'm not saying you should not be not calling it football. You should, if you don't want to call it soccer, it's okay, it's fine. Even though your nation created the sport and created the name, because soccer was short for association. So, when you're conducting a World Cup draw, Rio, can you not complain about the lingo? Because you call it football, we call it soccer. I will not call it soccer, I will call it football. And can you not take it too seriously when someone is trying to wind you up? We're all trying to have a little fun here. The wars are over. You're not playing anymore. You're done playing on the football pitch. You're done playing on the soccer field, Rio. Calm down and enjoy yourself. If you're nervous because it's a big undertaking, I understand. I completely and utterly understand why you were upset or nervous about doing the table at the World Cup draw, because it's a huge honor. Hell, it would be a huge honor for me if I was helping conducting the US Open Cup draw. I would love to put my hand into a pot and pick out a ball, open it up, and say, this is the team that's going to be placed in this position for the US Open Cup. I would be ecstatic if I can do that. If I can open up an envelope and just do that and say, here's the logo of the team hosting the game or being the visitors of the game, I would be jumping for joy. I would love it. I would go right away to CBS Sports Network's Galazzo Network studio, and I would just love opening up an envelope and showing the logo of a club in whatever round they would do it in. Or if it's a ball, do that too. I would love it. I would enjoy it. I would just be ready to freaking go. I would love it. I can't, unfortunately, but if I was given the opportunity, I would do it in a heartbeat. If I get called in and say, hey, listen, would you like to come to England and pull out a numbered ball and announce who's the home team or the road team for the FA Cup? Hell yes, I would do it. Hell yes. But Rio, you're on our soil, sir. Call it soccer. You don't want it? Fine. But do it and grin and bear it. No complaining, sir. You can complain after or when you get back home. But don't complain in front of a bunch of Americans, please. Could you? Or Canadians, New Zealand, Australians, they also call it soccer. You English called it soccer. You started it, period. But that's all I can say. That's all I can say. It's all I can do. And hey, what are you going to do about it? Just don't complain, man. Don't complain. You're a great footballer. You're a great defender. You scored a goal here or there. Hard nose for Man United. Hard nose for the England men's national team. Good for you. You were on our soil doing FIFA business. Say the word soccer, Rio. Just say it. It's not that hard. Just remember, your brethren, England, created the word first. And you still call it Soccer Saturday on Sky Sports. So don't come crying to me about this crap. You're on our turf, sir. Shut up. Smile. Try to smile. Grin and bear it. And just tell the draw assistants where and who when you're when you're picking out the balls and put them into whatever groups. But I also say this new pathway situation that FIFA has done, I was expecting at least 12 pots for the other positions to be placed out of those 4 pots for those teams. That did not happen. Very surprised by it. But this new pathway has eliminated that part of the draw, and it was great to watch. It was a lot of fun. I really hope Tom Brady had a lot of fun. I really hoped Shaquille O'Neal had a lot of fun. Wayne Gretzky had a lot of fun, and Aaron Judge had a lot of fun. I'm really hoping they did, because it's really awesome to see professional athletes, even though they are not professional soccer players or professional footballers, but even though they're getting into the game, that's what we're all hoping for, and that's what we're all happy to see. So thank you to Tom Brady, to Shaquille O'Neal, to Aaron Judge, and Wayne Gretzky for doing your part in the FIFA World Cup draw and placing these national teams into the 12 groups of 4 for next summer's tournament. For the first time ever, 48 team groups. Let's go over it one more time, just so we all know what's going on. Group A, once again, Mexico, South Africa, South Korea or Korea Republic, and UEFA Playoff Pathway D of Denmark, North Macedonia, Czechia, and the Republic of Ireland. Group B, Canada, the UEFA Playoff Pathway A of Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Qatar, and Switzerland. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Scotland. Group D, the United States, Paraguay, Australia, and UEFA Playoff Pathway C of Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo. In groups, second phase, Group E, Germany, Curacao, the Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire, Ecuador. Group F, the Netherlands, Japan, UEFA Playoff Pathway B of Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, and Albania. Tunisia. In Group G, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Or Iran, I should say. Iran. Group H, it is Spain, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. And the final four groups, France. Group I, France, Senegal, interconfederational playoff winner of either Bolivia, Suriname, or Egypt, and Norway. In Group J, the World Cup defending champions Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Group K, we have Portugal, that is FIFA interconfederational playoff winners of either New Caledonia, Jamaica, or Congo, DR, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. And finally, Group L, England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Excitement, glory, fun. I can't wait. I know you cannot wait. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be exciting. And it'll be this upcoming summer. Don't forget, March 2026 international window will be the UEFA Playoff Pathway Playoffs and the FIFA Interconfederational Playoffs as well for those two spots to the FIFA World Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching me tonight. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Join me tomorrow night as we will discuss the amateur clubs who have qualified for the 2026 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. And as always, please, 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 please enjoy your football. Thank you. Take care. So long. And have a good night. And bye-bye for now. Have a good night, everybody.